Good morning, students. Am I audible? Yes, students. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Students, are you all able to see the screen?
Darjeeling to Kathmandu.
Okay. So, students, today we are going to study about this lesson 1.2. This is
Point
like
two.
a students, you can mute yourself because there is disturbance. So, we are going to study the lesson on to the summit. We reach the top. This is on page number 15 of your textbook. And
Wow, this is man. Page number.
yes, students, you can mute yourself. There's a lot of disturbance. And only when you're asked, you can then unmute and just give your opinion if you have to. Okay, students, this lesson or this autobiography is written by Tenzing Norgay. Now, this person, he was actually a mountaineer, right? And he was one of the first two individuals known to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Summit is the top peak, the top point of a mountain. And this he had accomplished along with the other person, that is Edmund Hillary, on 29th May 1953. Now, in the textbook, you can just see, I'll just share the other file of the textbook with you. You can just see there are list of honors which this person has received, right? Now, those who have the textbook, they can also see, first of all, he has received the honor of Tiger Medal, okay? And then he has also got the honor of Star of Nepal, right? Because of his achievement, and then the Padma Bhushan. Now, in this lesson, he is describing the climb of the top and all events that occurred during the historic climb. So the article also describes what brought him to climbing mountains. So as we know, like, in case if we are passionate about something, right, then we can, even climb mountains, okay? And whatever challenges come our way, we are ready to face the challenges, right? But we see to it that we are reaching our destination, reaching our zenith. So in the same way, this person that is Tenzing, okay, he has actually accomplished his goal, okay. So he has given a brief description about, how this journey was. So just to, begin, like the people who are involved, okay, we can call them as characters. So we have Edmund Hillary, who was his companion throughout while climbing the Mount Everest. Then he has also given mention about his wife, daughter Nima, but they don't have any significant role over here. And he has just mentioned that he was Buddhist and even his wife was Buddhist. Then now we have other people like Colonel Hunt. He was a leader of the expedition. Then there is a reference of the person Lambert, and this Lambert was Tenzing's friend. Then we have other people like Noyce and Lowe who are actually helping Tenzing when they have, completed the climb, when they are coming down. Okay, so they needed tea and coffee, so they are helped by Noyce and Lowe. So students, just to understand here, first of all, Tenzing started from Darjeeling. Okay, he went to Kathmandu, and then from Kathmandu he had to go through several camps. So there are various camps before you actually go to the peak. So you have Camp 4 and then, several other camps in between, but the mention is only for Camp 4, then Camp 9, and finally to the peak. And then in between, you have South Summit and the Summit Ridge. that they had to also cross. So these were the places which they had crossed before they could actually reach the summit ridge. Now, while crossing, I have mentioned here few challenges, that they have to, go through. So first of all, they have to climb the steep rock. Now, in case if the rock is, gentle, I mean, the mountain slope is gentle, then it's not that difficult. But in case if the slope is steep, it's very difficult to climb, right? So all the rocks on the mountain are actually steep. And on top of that, they are covered with snow. So all the time you have a fear of, slipping down. Okay, and it was more difficult because they had to carry all the bulky equipment with them because in the Mount Everest the temperature is below freezing point, right? So it's very difficult to survive without wearing the right garments. So they were wearing all those jackets, right, thick jackets to protect themselves from the harsh climate. And then once you reach, I mean, now once you cross a certain level, then what happens is the oxygen level depletes, right? So you face difficulty in breathing, and that's why they have to carry the oxygen mask also. So they were carrying all that. And then these people, okay, they were feeling thirsty and they were having the water in the water tumbler, but then still they were not able to drink. So, can any one of you guess the reason why they were not able to drink water?
Ma'am,
Yes,
because it was too cold nearby. That's why
correct. So, what happens because of cold?
the water gets frozen.
Correct. In this, freezing temperature, the water will not remain in the liquid state, right? So, you are not able to quench your thirst, right? And then, apart from that, there were other dangers, like there was a possibility of gale. Now, gale is a strong wind, right? And then once they reach the summit, okay, the next danger was getting down safely. So, students, definitely climbing is difficult, but more difficult and more dangerous is getting down. Because the moment you're not cautious, okay, of yourself, you can immediately just slip into some of the glacier or the valley, and then nobody could trace you where you are, right? So while getting down, there were so many other dangers that they had to go through. Now, here there was a few things that we had to see in the order, okay, that they go. First of all, this person, that is Sherpa Tenzing and Edmund Hillary, okay, who were about to start their expedition, they had a controversy, right? But then they thought that this topic of controversy is actually childish, right? And it's not going to help them achieve their goal. Both of them were very passionate about achieving their goals, that is reaching the summit of the mountain. So what they thought, that it's better to give it in writing to some authority. So they signed a pact. Pact is an agreement, right? And in the agreement, they both have mentioned that they will not argue with each other on any silly matters. There is some disturbance, students. Can you all put yourself on mute? I mean, why do we need to instruct you all for this purpose? Okay, so here uh, they had to sign a pact, okay, and then in this pact they had mentioned in writing to each other that they will not be arguing on silly things with each other, because in case if they argue while climbing, then obviously they will be, their attention will be diverted, and then they will not be able to accomplish their goal of climbing the Mount Everest. And then not just that, this agreement was handed over to the Prime Minister of Nepal, right? So to some big authority, okay? So that much serious they were about climbing. And this kind of, gesture also, tells us that in case if we are really serious, really passionate about some goal, okay, we also need to, have a pact with ourselves, right? That we won't be arguing on silly matters with our friends and other people and simply waste our time and then deviate our attention. And there is a possibility of distraction, right? We will be thinking about them all the time, and rather than thinking about our goals. Then after that, the colonial handed over the flags of United Nations, Nepal, and the Great Britain. And in addition to that, the Sherpa Tenzing were also carrying the Indian flag. So these things were going in the order, and once they reached the summit, okay, they had taken photographs and then they had planted the flag. Now, once they reached the summit, okay, what are thoughts and feelings that they were experiencing? First of all, we know for this Sherpa Tenzing, he had immense belief in God. So, students, whichever religion you belong to, unless and until you believe in God, it's difficult, um, to cross the challenges, to overcome all the hurdles, right? And this person, that was Sherpa Tenzing, he was having immense belief in God, right? And even when he reached the top of the Mount Everest, he was expressing his gratitude. Gratitude means thankfulness. And then also he was, thanking God, okay, first of all, for saving him from all accidents, and not just that, for the fulfillment of the desire. Okay, because his utmost desire was being fulfilled, so he was exhilarated. Exhilarated means very, very excited. Obviously, in case, if you are one of the person who is there to break the record, okay, and this is a record breaking event, right? So you are definitely going to be excited. So he was also excited along with Hillary, and they took photographs of each other. They planted the flags, and at the same time, they were feeling thirsty, but then they were not able to drink the water. Now, when they were climbing, okay, they were climbing with the ropes. Okay, that means the ropes were tied to each other, and they were, climbing 20 feet apart. Now, when they were climbing, they were not, thinking who would reach the first, because it really doesn't matter, with a difference of 20 feet, right? And then once they reach the summit, okay, there is a description of the summit also mentioned that this summit was flat on one side and it was steep on the other side. So it was not a very safe place. Okay, there was, little space to make the tent, and then there was the snow on the northern side, and there were rocks on the south and the eastern side, and then there were snowy rocks on the western side. So this is the description of the summit that Sherpa has mentioned, and they couldn't, wait there for long. Hardly few minutes they were there, and they were having a watch of the other mountains, which was small. Okay, that was smaller than Everest. But then still, Sherpa Tenzing, because of his immense belief in God, he was comparing all those small mountains to be as gods and goddesses, right? And once they climbed, okay, they, as I mentioned, that there was more danger in climbing down, but still, they accomplished that. And once they reached Camp 8, again, Sherpa thanked God for not, having him met with an accident. And there they were greeted by the people from the Consumer Welfare Fund, that is Noise and Low, who greeted them with tea so that they can warm themselves up. Now, although these people were very happy, there is Noise and Love, and they were very much excited to help them. But then, when Sherpa was drinking the tea, he found the tea to be having the smell of kerosene. Maybe, accidentally the kerosene was dropped, but then still he didn't make a point because he understood the feelings of the other person who had brought the tea for him. So this is all is mentioned in this lesson, and it is expected that once the lesson is completed, you can go through the lesson, right? And the meanings of the typical words are already mentioned. So you go through the lesson and try to, understand, okay, what is the main message of the lesson. Now, students, apart from this lesson, we also need to do the contextual grammar and writing skills. Now, what do you mean by contextual grammar and writing skill? That means in the lesson itself, whatever grammar topics we have, we will complete it. So we'll just start with this. Okay. Students, one important question that you get in your exam is spot the error. So a sentence would be provided to you, and you need to understand the sentence and find out the error. So let's say the sentence, I was not afraid for die that day. So once you read the sentence, you should be able to find out that for is not the right word over here. The correct sentence is, I was not afraid to die that day. It just comes for 1 mark, but it is very important. So just one more sentence here. Okay. Can someone read the sentence? A part.
Tenzing
And Hillary.
made and packed at the office of PM of Nepal.
Perfect. Can you spot the error or someone else?
I can spot it. Tenzing
Perfect.
and Hillary made a pact at the office of PM of Nepal.
Very good. Can you tell others like what was the error?
There was an used instead of a.
Correct. So students here, everyone can see this article a and is used, okay, before the word pact.
There
Now
was
the
an
pact word
instead.
starts with a consonant, right? And usually before the consonants, we don't use an, we use an only before the vowels. There are some exceptions where we'll be using an before the consonant also, that we will see in the topic articles when we'll do that. So this is the error, that is Hillary made a pact, right? And this way you can just solve the other examples. That was one topic, spot the error. Then apart from that, you have the degrees of comparison. So many of the students might be already aware about the degrees of comparison. And this question or this topic is on page number 24. So students, with regards to the grammar, before I continue with this topic, I'll just share another file with you all. So in degrees of comparison, we have 3 degrees: positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. So positive degree is no comparison, or even if we are comparing, the comparison is mild, like as dash as, right? Okay. And then apart from that, in comparison, we are comparing two groups which are similar. Okay. And then superlative is comparison with the entire group which is similar. So let's say you're comparing the marks, okay, of your own, that is 10th standard marks. You will be only comparing with other students of 10th standard. Obviously, you won't compare with anyone of grade other than 10th, right? That's what, I'm trying to say by similar grade. Now here, this is the list of the adjectives. This is just few examples. First column is positive, second is comparative, and third is superlative. So there are few words like if you have to use a comparative form of these adjectives, we can add er as the suffix, or if you have to make superlative form, we add est. So kind, kinder, kindest. And then next is if you have some words in the positive degree which are ending in y, we can add IER in the comparative degree and IEST in the superlative. So you have easy, easier, east, or funny, funnier, funniest. And students, you all can take screenshots. And those who don't want to take screenshot, they can just write in short one example so that you come to know that we have completed this topic of degrees of comparison. Then positive ending E. So let's say you have words like fine, wise, noble. So there you can simply add R at the end, okay, as a suffix to make it sound a comparative word. And you can simply add ST at the end to make it a superlative. So words like wise, wiser, and wisest. Then the other way of changing the degree is doubling the consonant with ER and EST. So let's say you have the word big. So G is the consonant. We double the letter G, okay, and then we add ER. That is called doubling the consonant. So big, bigger, biggest. Okay, and then fat, fatter, fattest. So T, and then we are doubling it to make it fatter, and then the fattest. So these were few examples, and then in some words we can't use ER or ST. Then in that case we use more or less or most or least. So examples of the words like prompt. Prompt means quick. So for this we say more prompt, most prompt, then less prompt or least prompt. Okay, then we have some other words as well. So when the entire word changes, so old, older, oldest, and then good, better, best. So these are the examples of comparative degree that we have seen. And we'll just now see the textbook questions. Okay, students, in this exercise, you're expected to find out which sentences are correct, okay? And in case if a sentence is wrong, you need to specify the reason. So everywhere, we cannot use like ER, right? So you need to find out like what is incorrect. So let's say this sentence, I have the wonderfulest mother in the world. So I think this is quite clear that this sentence is not correct. And what is the reason for not being correct? Because we don't have any such word as wonderfulest. So if you have to have a superlative form of the word wonderful, you have to add the word most before it, right? That was one exercise. And then there are some other examples. Okay, so this is the exercise wherein you have to fill in the blanks with positive, comparative, or superlative forms. So to begin with, you are dash your brother. So obviously there is a comparison between you and brother. And the adjective that you have to use is clever. So anyone unmute and tell me what's the correct word over here, the comparative word of clever. You have to use the word clever in the blank, but the form has to be changed to comparative, right? So can anyone unmute and tell me what's the comparative form of the word clever?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, is
it
it
can be more
more
clever.
clever?
Correct. More clever is correct. But then apart from that, you also have to use the word then. THAN. So more clever than your brother. And students, whenever you're comparing, always the spelling of then would be THAN. So that is one option, one answer which is correct. Apart from that, there is another way of writing also. Can anyone tell me the other way? You are cleverer. Okay, you also have a word cleverer than your brother. So both the answers are correct. And that is how I expect that you can solve the other questions. So students, this was about the contextual grammar and beginning with the writing skills. Now, writing skills that we have is the formal letter over here. So can someone unmute and read the question? Second question, you know the college from here. Yes. Yes,
You
can
are the
anyone?
college
Yeah.
representative.
Your voice is your voice is breaking. Maybe there is some internet issue. Can someone else read it?
You are the college representative and your principal has assigned to you the task of writing a letter to the divisional officer, Satpura Mountain Ranges, Nagpur, seeking permission for the mountaineering expedition to be organized by your college. Write the letter.
All right. So this is thank you. And this is the example of the formal letter. And the format is also mentioned over here. Now, third part, we are not doing it for the time being to convert into email format. We are just, writing a letter. So the formal letter format is first of all, you write the sender's address, right? Beginning with the name, and you're not supposed to declare your or reveal your identity anywhere. You will be simply writing capital XYZ as your name, then the address, and then the date. And students, regarding the date also, you will not write this word date. You will simply write 28th November in capital, comma 2020. Like this is the format to be followed by everyone. And then because it's like a formal letter and you're writing a letter to someone like an officer, so you need to write the designation of that person. So the designation is what? Can everyone just see carefully and one of you unmute and tell me the designation? What?
Respected sir or ma'am.
No, that is salutation. That is not the designation. Receiver,
Divisional officer.
Divisional
correct.
officer.
And you will use the, right? To the divisional officer, that is the designation, and then the address is mentioned. So below the designation, you will write Satpura Mountain Ranges, Nagpur, right? And then comes the, actually here they have not given it correctly, salutation. Okay, first of all, subject should come and then the salutation. So in the subject, you have to write in short why you are writing this letter. So can anyone try? And the subject should be written, looking at the question itself. So can anyone tell me the subject? What's the subject?
Mountaineering expedition organized by our college.
No. Anyone else?
Asking permission for
Seeking
the
permission
mountaineering
for
expedition.
Correct. It's simply taking or asking permission or seeking permission for the mountaineering expedition. Okay, and then when you're beginning the letter, you start with a salutation like "Respected Sir, Madam." Now, students, formal letters should always end in three paragraphs. First paragraph should be elaborating your subject. That means whatever is your subject, you will explain it in detail. So, explaining that our school or college has organized a mountaineering expedition, right? And then we are seeking permission, okay, so that you can allow us. And then you have to explain the other details in the second paragraph. Or first of all, when you're writing the introduction, you also have to introduce yourself. Now, let's say you are writing this letter because your principal has told you. And who are you? What's your designation?
College representative.
Correct. So you're the college representative. So you will write the letter by introducing yourself in the first paragraph. I, comma, Master XYZ, comma, college representative of ABC College. Okay. Then, comma, am writing this letter to seek permission for mountaineering expedition. Okay. And then you specify where you are seeking this permission. Now, the second paragraph, it is information or explanation or elaboration. Now, obviously, when you're seeking permission, you have to give the details. Where is your college located? How many students are going to come? How many teachers? And then if there are any other people other than, let's say, caretakers and housekeeping and all. So who are going to come along with you? You have to give the total count, which is important, so that accordingly the arrangements could be made, right? And that is all will be coming in the second paragraph. And you tell me, students, apart from this, what other information you will give in the second paragraph? Yes, you will mention the count. What is the other things? Yes, students, you should be having the ability to think on your feet. Think on your feet means quickly. You have to
Schedule.
specify, just be clear and louder.
The schedule.
Schedule, yes,
Yes.
correct. So you have to tell your date, right? And the time of visit and the time of exit, right? All those things have to be specified in clear, right? And whether it's an overnight stay, if you're going to stay, and accordingly you have to specify, right? And then this is how your second paragraph will be comprising of that. And then you will also mention that our students are disciplined, and I can assure you, or I can ensure you that there will be no one who would be breaking the rules. We have been in the process of following the discipline. And then you will also say that in case if you have some guidelines, okay, that needs to be followed, please inform us, and accordingly we'll take care of it. Now, students, tell me what's going to be the concluding paragraph. It is opinion and request. Yes? Yes? The third paragraph will be, yes, anyone? In ICSE, CBSE, and State Board, all the three boards, I know that you all are writing a lot of letters, right? So you should be well versed with what should be the content of the third paragraph, right? So what will come? I hope that my application or okay, this is an application, right? I hope that my application will be given a due consideration, and I expect that you would respond in positive. In positive means you would give the permission because you're asking permission, right? And I expect that you would give the response in positive, right? So waiting for your reply, and kindly reply at your earliest convenient time. Is this all, or you want to add something? Yes, students. That's it. Okay, then coming to the complimentary clause. So students, here you will be writing thanking you, below that yours faithfully. So students, let me just tell you all, many of the students are correct, but still many other students, they use the word your as Y-O-U-R, which is incorrect. You have to use yours, Y-O-U-R-S, and the spelling, that is our first letter has to be capital. So yours faithfully is the proper closing that you can do. And apart from that, signature would be simply XYZ, that's your name. Now coming to the next thing, that is list of enclosures. Now, what do you mean by enclosures? Anyone? Yes, anyone? What are enclosures? Enclosures are some attachments, like an email you send attachments. So along with this application, if you're sending other papers, other documents, right? So that also you can attach. So you have to specify in the application that in addition to this letter, which are the other documents that you are sending. So number one, can anyone tell me related to this topic, what kind of document will I send? If you are the college representative, what will you send? Yes? You can send the list of the students, right? The names of the students and the teacher's name, like, so the person would be well aware, like, who are going to come, right? Secondly, and these things should be printed on the letterhead of the school, right? That indicates it's an authentic letter. Okay, and secondly, is there any other thing that needs to be mentioned? Yes, anything else? Or is that all? Okay, so students, this is the list of the enclosures, means the attachments or the other documents which we are sending. And with this, you would end the letter. So in case if you're sending more than one, you have to number the enclosures as 1 and 2. So students, with this, I have given you a fair idea about how to write a formal letter. So you need to have a good practice, and the letter question comes for 4 marks. And students, you need to complete the letter writing in 8 minutes, because approximately 2 minutes you will get, right? For 1 mark. So if not 8 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete your paper. I don't know now what scenario we have this year. I mean, whether we have online exams or actual, we don't know, but I'll be giving instructions considering the fact that you are writing the actual exam. Okay, students, so that was about the formal letter. And I will be posting another question related to this. So I want you all to do maximum practice, and you all can complete it, write it, and then send me the scanned image, okay, of the formal letter that I'll be posting the question. Okay, so that was formal letter that we have completed in this grammar section, and we have few minutes more. So I'll just take up the topic of articles. Okay, we are running out of time, and I also have to take the attendance. Amay Rakhi, are you in NK1 batch or NK2 batch? because you have displayed your name as NK1. Okay, we have exactly 4 minutes. If the session gets disconnected, there is no need to connect again. I'm done with the attendance. And in the meanwhile, I'll just explain a short topic of articles. So students, we have two types of articles, and that is definite articles and indefinite articles, right? Now, definite articles are examples are the, and then you have a or an, which are the examples of indefinite articles. So students, with regards to the indefinite articles, I'm talking about a or an, these are only used before singular countable nouns, right? So I'll give you another example. So let's say I'm using the word ugly. What will come before this if I have to describe? A will come or an will come?
And
Correct. And why do we use and before it? Because this letter U is a vowel. Before the vowels, we use and before the consonants, we use a. So let's say you have another word that is egg. And what will come before this?
and
Even the same reason, that is E is a vowel, right? Now coming to some exceptions. Students, whatever rules we are going to discuss in English, they will have exception. Exceptions in the sense, I have just told you the rule that and can be used before the vowels, but there are some exceptions like the word honest. The first letter is H. H is a consonant. It is not a vowel. However, when you read the word, that is this word, the letter H is silent. So the pronunciation of this is honest. We begin from this word. Begin from this letter, that is O. So we do not use the letter H sound, and because the sound O we are using, that's why, okay, what we use, okay, you will be using an. In spite of the fact that H is a consonant, we will be using an before it. In the same way, if I